You hear a lot of people say this, and I totally agree with it. They say, fail fast, and it's so true. But it also ties into the procrastination conversation. What is procrastination? Procrastination is nothing more than the delay of the gifts that God is ready to present us with. And we're saying, no, we're not ready for those. How about tomorrow? Because when you're on your path, you're doing what you need to do, you tend to be in alignment and the gifts come abundantly. So that's why sometimes we say, hey, fail fast, because if you started the project last Monday, you would have found out that the piece that is missing takes a week to come in the mail, and now your whole project's been pushed back a week, you can't even start. But if you started on Monday, you knew, oh, I'm missing this piece, so it'll be here next Monday, and now you can begin working on your project. Fail fast ties into procrastination very quickly. Also, you have a lot of people that are afraid to fail. They're afraid to make mistakes. But you have to make mistakes. You have to fail. That's the only way you learn. That's the only way you gain experience. So I want people to fail. I want people to mess up. Don't be afraid of messing up. A lot of people want perfection straight out the gate. You know, you start a podcast or a show, and the first one, they want it to be perfect straight out the gate. That's not possible. Just go. Done is better than perfect. Fail fast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. In case you're unfamiliar, I am
that Hotep Jesus dude. That Hotep Jesus dude.
Welcome. First things first, shout out to our sponsor, Syscoin. Syscoin is a very, very interesting project. It has the ability to scale, and not only scale, still keep the security that's needed. It's I forget what the term is, but it's like piggybacking off of merge mining. That's right. It's called merge mining. Very, very interesting concept there of merge mining. But today I wanted to do something a little funky. I wanted to take a look at the chart. I want to take a look at their chart. Let's take a look at their chart. This is their trading chart here, or their price chart here. And obviously we see here, this is January 2022. This is before Biden's America really starts to kick in. And you see here, it's starting to plateau. The price is pretty much stabilizing. So I thought about it and I said, okay, what would happen if I took a position today? And at some point in the future, it went back to its previous high of about, this says $1.20, right? So I popped that into this calculator here, and I said, okay, if I purchase, let's say just 15 shares, right, at a price of 0.13, and it went up, and I sold at $1. Let's just say $1. It says I stand to make about 670% on my money, which is well, rather promising, I would say. I definitely would take a chance on something. Keep in mind, this is not financial advice. Let me just say that. But I did take a position on this today. I kind of couldn't turn it down. I mean, for 13 cents, you can't beat it. It's like playing the penny stock game, right? So I threw some shekels in there. I officially have a position. I'm probably going to do some daily buys on this thing. And if you want, hey, jump in with me. I feel like I have nothing to lose because this thing goes up to $1. Wow. Oh, baby. Maybe Hotep Studios coming soon. So anyway, shout out to our sponsors, Syscoin. Go check them out. And without further ado, let's hop right into today's feature presentation. Our wonderful press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, Karine Stefan, I believe that's Superhead. Not that Karine. I often make that mistake. Let's hop right into what she had to say
about our wonderful country. And then we're going to dissect this. You know how I get down. I'm going to pop open some legitimate primary sources, some secondary sources, and really extrapolate what it is that she means by these statements. So let's go ahead and hit play on this. In the meantime, I encourage you to support the channel with super chats. Often, especially when I do MAGA updates, YouTube doesn't allow me to monetize those videos for whatever reason. I don't care to speculate on that too much. But I will read them out. If you have questions, comments, go ahead, super chat. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, you can do so on Cash App, $ Hotep Jesus. Now, with that said, let's hit play.
The president thinks that there is an extremist threat to our democracy. The president has been clear.
Now, first thing I want to say is that the president is absolutely correct. There is a threat to democracy. And like I said, we're going to get into it very shortly.
As he can be on that particular piece, when we talk about a democracy, when we talk about our freedoms, the way that he sees is the MAGA.
Our freedoms. When she says our freedoms, who is our? Are we talking about the people who want the freedom to kill babies? We talking about the people who want the freedom to carry on drag queen story time? Who is our? Who is we? Because she's certainly excluding the MAGA group from this cohort.
MAGA Republicans are the most energized part.
Oh, they are energized. You better believe it, and they better be energized. Let's go. Dark MAGA, form up.
Of the Republican Party,
First of all, lady, they're not the most energized part of the Republican Party. They are the new Republican Party. Okay, the old guard is out. The old GOP, we are replacing them. We saw that with Liz Cheney. It is a new day. Okay, that's what's happening here. The previous regime of republicanism is fading out. So it's easy to be the new energy of the Republican Party because we're phasing out the old.
This is an extreme threat to our democracy, to our freedom.
Extreme. They love to throw around this word extreme. Extreme. What is extreme? When you go so far left, anything close to center is extreme to these people.
To our rights.
And our rights. Again, who is our? Who is our? And then somewhere in here, let me hit this play again.
We talk about our freedoms, the way that he...
Freedom. They love throwing that word around. Freedom. Freedom for who? What kind of freedom? These people, I would say, are extremists in the fact that they want to limit, through big tech, free speech, and through legislation, and through Congress, they would like to take away the Second Amendment. They would also like to threaten the 10th Amendment of the Constitution, as we saw previously. I can't remember the case, but it was the overturning of Roe v. Wade. I think it's Jackson versus New York or something like that, in which Clarence Thomas turned out to be an absolute hero. Okay.
He sees as the
Anyway, all right. So enough of this, lady. Let's go to primary sources. Anytime you come to this channel, there's a 95% chance that you're going to see me pull up primary sources and then afterwards some secondary sources. And then we'll extrapolate, we'll explain exactly the avarice behavior of these odious Democrats. So we're going to go to our first source. Now, this is a secondary source. Here's our first secondary source. I'm going to put this up on your screen right now. And you'll see here, what does it say? It says democracy, 2 wolves, and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. Liberty is a well-armed lamb contesting the vote. Now, some people will attribute this to Ben Franklin or whoever else. However, It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who said this. What matters is this shit makes sense. This absolutely makes sense. Democracy is two wolves and a sheep voting for what's dinner. And if you have a sheep that is unarmed, aka without the Second Amendment, the sheep will become dinner. And that's what they want. They want to unarm the sheep because they are the wolves. So in order to be free, you have to be armed. Okay? Now that is our secondary source. And take notes, write this stuff down, write these quotes down. These are the arguments you're going to carry to the Thanksgiving table this year. When you're there with your liberal, socialist cousins, niece, uncle, auntie, grandma, whoever it is, this is the ammunition. Because we're not doing the whole, we're not talking about politics at the dinner table. We're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that anymore. We are talking about politics at the dinner table, because if we don't talk about it at the dinner table, when do we talk about it? Online with strangers? No, we're talking about politics at the dinner table. And in fact, that's how we're going to start the conversation off at Thanksgiving. We're going to ask our family members, we're going to say, why can't we talk about politics at the dinner table, and wait for the dumbass responses to come from them? And then we're going to ask them, the second question is, if we don't talk about politics now, when do we talk about it? And if we now this is for my black folks out there, if we want to wonder why we are dominated politically, we have to ask ourselves, when is it that we have political conversations with our family? When are we going to do this? That's the second question you're going to ask your family. If not now, when? And if they have a response, if they want to schedule a meeting to have some political discourse amongst the family, then damn it, put it on the calendar right then and there. Because it's 2022. And it's a new day. The clock is ticking and the communists are closing in. Let's go to our primary sources to make sure that people have a lot of ammunition in which to battle these delinquents that call themselves advocates of freedom. So here we have another source. Unfortunately, I'll just give you a quick spoiler. It says here, we currently have no evidence. Let me make sure you can see this on your screen. Okay, good. We currently have no evidence to confirm that Thomas Jefferson ever said or wrote, democracy is nothing more than mob rule, where 51% of the people may take away the rights of the other 49%. Or any of its listed variations. We do not know the sources of this statement's attribution to Thomas Jefferson. Now we got to stop right there. We got to stop right there, and we have to go back. We have to go back, and we have to play the clip one more time. We have to. Listen.
The president thinks that there is an extremist threat to our democracy.
Yes, there is a threat to democracy. There is a threat to the democracy, and there should be. If you consider yourself a patriot, if you consider yourself a lover of the country that you live in, there is an absolute threat to your democratic rule, to your democratic mob rule. And I'll bring that back up on the screen one more time for the people. So everybody has that quote. If you don't have your pen and pad out, please pull it out. What does it say right there? A democracy is nothing more than mob rule, where 51% of the people may take away the rights of the other 49. You hear me, people? You hear me? Okay. So again, I've just given you two sources or two quotes that have not been attributed to any source, and it has not been confirmed. So the liberals will go, oh, well, that was never attributed to anybody. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back. We're going to find out what the founding fathers had to say. Now we're going to give you some primary sources and some real quotes. This is from John Adams to John Taylor, December 17th, 1814. Right? Let's put this up on your screen. And all I did was hit F to pull up everywhere that the word democracy is used. And we're going to go through this document very, very slowly. It's classified as number 18. Let me make this bigger on your screen. I want y'all to be able to read this right along with me. Let's blow this up so y'all can read this right along with me. Yeah, there we go. That's beautiful right there. Okay. Right there. Okay. Now, number 18. In your 5th page, you say, Mr. Adams calls our attention to hundreds of wise and virtuous patricians, mangled and bleeding victims of popular fury, and gravely counts up several victims of democratic rage as proofs that democracy is more pernicious than monarchy or aristocracy. Is this fair, sir? Do you deny any one of my facts? I do not say that democracy has been more pernicious on the whole and in the long run than monarchy or aristocracy. Democracy has never been and never can be so durable as aristocracy and monarchy. Now, how many times have I told you I was very much in favor of monarchy over democracy? And we're going to continue reading here so y'all can see it. I'm not crazy. Okay. When I say this democratic republic or democracy idea y'all got going on don't work, and we need to go back to kings and queens at the very least, y'all say I'm crazy, but let's continue. It says right here, democracy has never been and never can be so durable as aristocracy or monarchy. But while it lasts, it is more bloody than either. I beseech you, sir, to recollect the time when my 3 volumes of defense were written and printed in 1786, 1787, and 1788. Let's go ahead and skip right here. An alphabetical dictionary of the names and qualities of persons mangled and bleeding victims of democratic rage and popular fury in France during the despotism of democracy in that country. He calls democracy despotism, a despot ideology, which Napoleon ought to be immortalized for calling ideology. Wow. Let's skip down. He says here, remember, democracy never lasts too long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and murders itself. There never was a democracy yet that did not commit suicide. It is in vain to say that democracy is less vain, less proud, less selfish, less ambitious, or less avaricious than aristocracy or monarchy. It is not true in fact and nowhere appears in history. He said it's not true in fact and nowhere appears in history. Show me where in history democracy works. It don't. Those passions are the same in all men under all forms of simple government, and when unchecked, produce the same effects of fraud, violence, and cruelty. Did you hear what he said? He said, it don't matter what kind of government you got. When it is unchecked, they produce the same effects of fraud, violence, and cruelty. So y'all can play around all day with what type of government works. Until you fix the people, it doesn't matter what your form of government is. Until the culture completely transforms the subconscious mind of every human being on this planet, or at least the upper echelon of the people on this planet. You will always be doomed, no matter who's in rule or what type of government you have in place. Let's continue. Here he says, what can I say of democracy of France? I dare not write what I think and what I know. Were Rousseau, Condorcet, Danton, Robespierre, and Monseigneur equality less ambitious than Caesar, Alexander, or Napoleon? Were Dumouriez, Pichegru, Moreau less generals, less conquerors, or any end less fortunate than him? What was the ambition of this democracy? Nothing less than to propagate itself in its principles, its systems through the world, to decapitate all the kings, destroy all the nobles and priests in Europe. Now, I always plug it. Because I did the research in my book. I did the research right here. Go get you a copy. The Patriot Report. I study this. I study this book. I have to do my work, but it's so much in here. It's hard for even me to memorize. Chapter 1. If you get the book, the most you need to read is chapter 1 to understand the premise of the document. To understand the premise of this report, all you need is chapter 1. And it will show you exactly what happens with kings and queens, the nobility. Now, I did presentations called the Patriot Report all through YouTube. So you can go watch the Patriot Report series on here. And it begins at chapter 2. Chapter 1, you have to purchase the book and read it because that is the most interesting chapter. Anyway, let's go back to my fraudulent 1776 accent. It says here, nothing less than to propagate itself. It is principles, its systems through the world to decapitate all the kings, destroy all the nobles and priests in Europe. Now you're going to see this in the future Hotep meditations where I talk about the propagation of communism, socialism throughout the world and how they target the monarchies. And he's talking about it here, but how they toppled the monarchies. Okay. So we have 3 main examples, but there are many more. The first one I would like to say is the Ottoman Empire. Now, this is not in order, but the Ottoman Empire falls due to socialist style ideas and revolution in the Ottoman Empire, the Sultan, etc., etc. The other example is the Kaiser of Germany. Okay. What the hell? Okay, there we go. The other one is the Kaiser of Germany. And then you have the various Reichs that proceed, right? And I believe it's the October Revolution. There's other color revolutions in Germany as well as they slowly move away from the Kaiser. And then you have in Russia the destruction of the Romanov family, the Tsar and the Tsarina, and the murder of them. And even when you look at the historical documents, you find that the people were quite disturbed. They liked the royal family. They were disturbed to find out, in fact, Lenin hid the fact that he murdered the family, right? And I know there's different, conspiracy theories about the fact that the son was still alive, but that's neither here nor there. But the people loved the family. They loved the royal family. But again, toppled from socialism and communism during that revolution. And what do we have here from the primary source? They're talking about this again, this word democracy, to destroy all the nobles and priests in Europe. Now, don't forget, Orthodoxy was very popular in Russia. Orthodox Church, the Orthodox Christianity was the main religion in the Rus before it became Russia, right? Or called it Russia. So let's continue. It says here, democracy is chargeable with all the blood that has been spilled for 5 and 20 years. Let me say that again. Democracy is chargeable with all the blood that has been spilled. I got to do it again. I messed it up. Democracy is chargeable with all the blood that has been spilled for 5 and 20 years. Napoleon and all his generals were but creatures of democracy. Did you hear what he said? All the blood that has been spilled for 5 and 20 years is due to democracy. And here we have our press secretary propping up this idea of democracy. And then she says that the MAGA crowd is a threat to democracy. You are absolutely correct. Now, I tweeted out my response. I tweeted out and I've already lost. I'm down like 100 followers, mostly because people just aren't educated on these facts, right? They can't think themselves out of a brown paper bag. So I'm down a bunch of followers because I'm gonna show you what I tweeted, and I'll put it on the screen right now. And I said, let's talk about how she's absolutely correct. She is correct. MAGA is a threat to democracy, and we need to threaten democracy continuously. And I'm not saying that through violence. This is not on YouTube. I'm not advocating for violence. What I'm saying is ideologically, I can say it better that way. Ideologically, it must be combated. It must be argued against. Better ideas must emerge. There may need to be a reversion. Conservatism is the idea of traditionalism, to bring things back to tradition. And I agree with that. In many instances, I totally agree with that. We need to start looking backwards. I know some people say, no, we need to look forwards. I disagree. I disagree. I think Grandpa had it right. We don't need to. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Ain't nothing new under the sun. People say, oh, conservatives are looking backwards. They need to look forward. It's a new day. No. Bring the hijab. Bring the hijab back. Don't forget, women back in the day didn't leave the house unless their hair was covered. Respectability politics are good. We need that. But anyway, I lost a bunch of followers because people think I'm a raging liberal for agreeing with our press secretary. I'm agreeing with our press secretary because I'm educated. Because I'm an autodidact. Because I have people like Chad on my side who have given me the sources of knowledge. And these people who have unfollowed me can only see things merely but on the surface. They have no idea how deep this swamp thing swims. People think they know, but they know nothing. Let me go ahead and read these super chats. Cassius Cam, he said, Hotep in the mother effing building. Miss you too, bro. Miss you too. Shout out to Carmen. What's up, Carmen? I don't read the chats because I like to stay focused and give you guys the best content possible. This is a suggestion by my handlers. Chad Singleton, he said, appreciate the reference to not procrastinating using our gifts in the intro. Thank you. Appreciate you, man. Procrastination is a slap in the face to God. Jabaria Judith, thank you. He said a monarchy can only be influenced by three cases: religious leaders, bankers, and leader of army. A democracy can be taken over by anyone with enough people behind them. See, Jabari's a thinking individual. He's someone who understands the matrix. We need more people like Jabari. If we had more people like Jabari, the world would be a better place. Jabari, thank you again. He says, can we get a skit with Uncle Hotep's Tobias and HJ's Negro-Pean voice? Is there a Tobias afoot? I'm working on my accent so I can read these documents in that voice. Yeah, press 1 in the chat if you enjoyed my 1776 accent. That was my best interpretation of Thomas Jefferson or Benjamin Franklin or one of these guys, or what they may have sounded like. It's like a bootleg old school UK accent. I'm still working on it though. And the only reason why I'm able to do it semi-decent is because all the documentaries I listen to are on UK voices. It's kind of weird that when you go to YouTube and you listen to, just historical, information, for example, like I'll just type in like Stalin or Lenin or the Romanov family, and everybody who does these videos has a UK accent. So I'm listening to this stuff all day long, every day, and I just start picking up on this accent. I don't know. Oh, y'all like it? Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Rapping gave me a 1.5. That's an honest take. I have to do better. I'm working on it. It's going to get tighter. Don't you worry. But I need you guys to do me a favor. I need you guys to take this video. I need you to share it. I need you to share it. Like and comment. All that shit's cute. But you got to share it and tell people, look, go listen to this. This is educational information here. It's an educational channel. Hit the subscribe button and tell people to subscribe. YouTube ain't really sharing my stuff like they do. People are in the comments saying I'm shadow banned. I don't like to complain about that stuff. It is what it is. But if you share it, there's nothing they can do about that. Okay. So please share this and get this to people ASAP. I am Hotep Jesus. This has been a wonderful, wonderful time with you people, and I really enjoyed it. I'll be back again tomorrow night for Hotep's Been Told You at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Hold on. Just a chick just sent another one. She said, democracy is nothing more than mob rule. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So like I said, I'll be here tomorrow night at 8 p.m. with Uncle Hotep for Hotep's Been Told You. Another classic episode is on the way. If you guys don't watch Hotep's Been Told You, it's like you might as well not even follow me on Twitter. It's the best. It's the most fun show on the internet, hands down, with real takes in that barbershop feel. For those who know, you know. Hotep and Build.